You can experience it yourself, though.
Right.
And so, for example, on Facebook Live, I'm hearing agents say, I can't believe I got a buyer in contract and I didn't have to compete this time.
Well, but also goes back to one of our, fundamentals of our coaching program is don't be a jerk, right?
Yes.
Get to know the other agents in your marketplace and ask the listing agents, even if you don't have a buyer for the property, what their experience is. Mm-hmm. That's how you're going to know. You guys got to remember, all the big, CNBC, Bloomberg, Redfin, all these guys are usually regurgitating the exact same report that may have come out from one particular analytical source, and they just spin it around. In this case, all these articles are basically sourced from Redfin. And Redfin, and they sometimes spin the content in such a way that they're trying to spin a specific, like in this one, you read all these headlines about the market slowing down, but they're not. None of the articles that you read all of them in the car. Mm-hmm. Did any of the articles take into account that the market normally slows down the peak of the summer?
No, because they're not in it the way we all are.
Exactly. So a lot of these sources of media that your consumers are going to be using are not relevant or not a very good trustworthy source in the sense that they're not going to say, well, yes, the market is slower, or yes, things are taking, a couple hairs longer on the market than they normally do. But nowhere are they also going to say, but guess what? This happens all the time.
Exactly. But that's where you come in. That's where your expertise comes in. Okay, so yes, do network with agents, especially experienced listing agents who are seeing this all the time.
Yeah, but add to this too that we're at the end of this COVID thing, right? Or end-ish of it, right? Mm-hmm. And you're seeing basically everyone seems to be competing for the same hotel rooms you and I are trying to get.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah, and
there is no comparable, I think is your point.
Right.
There's no this time is just like last time, and people try really hard to make that true. But it's not true. So you've got to use your experience plus the facts.
But this goes to the relevance of having this market knowledge and being somebody that your potential sellers and buyers and centers of influence and past clients, and everywhere you go, people are going to know you're in real estate. You don't just say it's a great time to buy or a great time to sell. You have to provide them actual content and information. The notes that Julie laboriously wrote in the car on the way here are going to be posted on all the normal podcasting, syndication sites. We are on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on Amazon. We're on everywhere. So if you want to have the notes to this podcast, now some of them don't always take all of our notes because we usually put gobs of notes on our show descriptions for this podcast. So you can just go over to timandjulieharris.com and you will get the full notes there and use them for your own media syndication or for basically educating yourself.
That's right. So, and an example of, all these reports saying, oh, inventory is going up, the housing market is shifting. Well, you also have to drill down on, again, in your particular market, if you are seeing more inventory, don't generalize. Most of the markets that are seeing more inventory, it's in the higher end.
Right.
And a lot of what I read said $1 million and up is where most of the inventory is coming from.
Right.
So, do your research.
You're now bringing in, let's just really loop this around, right? Mm-hmm. And the upper end buyers and the upper end market, that market is generally speaking the slowest in the peak of the summer. Yeah. And all the luxury markets that Julie and I've coached agents in, and we coach agents in all the big luxury markets. And just to really make a finer point of this, in Greenwich, Connecticut, Rob Johnson is the number one agent in that market who we've coached since basically he started selling real estate. He sells properties that he sold one last year that was, I don't even remember how much, 25 or 35 million. I mean, these are not inexpensive homes. Well, guess what? Most of the people in that stratosphere, they aren't even in the United States in August.
Right.
They're
on their yacht. They're in Europe. They're doing their thing.
And this is true out in LA. This is true down in Miami. So people take time off, and wealthy people will. So again, if
slow is just right if you're on vacation, a sloth, or describing QuickBooks. More like slow books. It sucks you in and